Let me introduce our guests, or some of our guests, for the first panel. Daga Gregorovic, musician, and more importantly, from the aspect of this event, a self-managed musician of Dagadana, very successful and personally one of my favorite bands. And Jakub Burgermeister, label manager of Glitterbeat. I mean, it's fair to say that objectively Glitterbeat is the most successful label in the field of world music. And Marco Canapari, Rhythm and Passport writer, so he's more from the media side. So the composition of the panel is, to cover different areas of your needs and your interests. And the topic that we will pursue in this first panel is artist development and artist promotion. We've covered parts of this in the first session, but I think there is a lot more to pursue out there. So let's start with in the so-called emerging artist phase, which is a very tricky expression, because an emerging artist is someone who is maybe not emerging yet. They want to emerge. So how to emerge? It seems like a very, very frustrating word outside when you're starting. And I still remember when you kind of started. How frustrating was that?
At the beginning, I would like to say that starting should always be in your mind, and if you will someday feel that you are already somewhere else, not at the beginning, you lose. My band now starts its sweet 16 of existence. So in 2 years we're gonna drink alcohol together legally for the first time, of course. But
so all of what happened so far, it was illegal?
Yes, it was illegal.
Shit.
So, but I still think that we are at the starting point somehow. And I want myself finding it as a starting point. With every single, with every people that are coming and say, wow, you do such a nice music, I didn't know you. And if you will find it that it's a frustrating thing, that someone didn't know, you are a frustrated person. But if you will find it as an opportunity, that you have another person that will know your music, that's changed a lot. Why I'm saying that? Because being a self-manager can be frustrating all the time. And you have to sell your music. You don't have many people told me, you must have a manager. You must have this. You must have this. And I say, okay, but I tried many times, and there were people that tried to do that. Of course, I had many situations like people were. They were not fair with the band, with a lot of things, and I'm still searching. But when I'm searching, I'm doing my job. So at the beginning, with the music, we knew what we want to do. We are. I think that we are finding some other lands of our artistic way all the time. But the biggest problem was with how do we want to look like. I mean, the clothes, it didn't correspond for several years with the music that we do. We didn't find actual people who know what to wear and so on. And this is super important thing. I took a folder for you this is not why I want to promote my band, but I just wanted to tell you that finally we are Polish-Ukrainian band doing world music with jazz and electronics, and finally we found once a girl who's making head crowns, which is corresponding totally with what we are doing, because we are mostly singing wedding stories. So this is 3/4 of our music, and those are Ukrainian head crowns. And it was super hard to get to the woman who does it, but we did it. And with this picture, it's changed a lot with getting to a lot of people not interested in the music. This picture was we were in the article in National Geographic in 37 countries with this picture. So
this became your logo, basically.
And this became our logo. So if you think that something is not important in part of your visuals and so on, this is not true. So for the people who don't know the band, that is always important. How do we look on stage? And the music comes later, unfortunately. But when they have opportunity to listen, then it goes great. And we'll have speed meetings today. I wanted to tell you how many speed meetings I broke. I missed my chance because I was not prepared. We'll have a listening session today. I'm wondering who prepared the song from the time that we will listen. Because when you have a long intro, we will be able to listen only 10 seconds, and it will be boring. And that's why what does all the promoters do when they listen, when you have a speed meeting and they listen to your music, they start to listen. We have 3 minutes for your talk, and you spend 30 seconds for a long intro. That's in the world of TikTok, it's ages. So then I started to look how to prepare for the meeting. So for prepare materials, prepare video, ask people, check my friends. Is it interesting for you? Check with your friends, other musicians. Listen, what do they want to say about it, and do the medleys, do the live video. Nobody's interested about how do you play on record. It can be, you can do whatever you want on studio. If you don't have a live video super well with good lights and so on, then that you're not prepared to go to bookers of the festivals and to go further. I could speak for 5 hours, so maybe I will quit now.
And you will, but yeah, let's give some chance to others as well. So, Jakub, at which stage do you prefer to work with an artist? So, as a label, do you prefer it to release already the first record of a band, or you prefer if it's something it's more pre-brewed? And you can build on the whatever result, success of previous stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Maya. That's a good question. I think this has changed for us as a label in the last years. We mostly start with artists that are no longer really emerging, which also has to do with the fact that more than 50% or so of the new releases are recurring artist releases. So it's not written in stone, because I have a very good example. It's the band Shirom from Ljubljana, from near Ljubljana. This was a emerging artist, which we kind of built up a little bit, I would say.
But also you are probably the ones in Europe in this area of music where artists are queuing, and you would probably your calendar is probably full for the next 2 years with releases, I guess. So what would be your advice if somebody, I mean, these people here would like to come out with their record internationally in the next 2 years? Where should they turn? Yeah, don't shy away from mentioning competitors as well, because you couldn't take them anyway.
Yeah, okay. My advice would be, we really do like complete press kits. We also like managers. So, but I would say, if you have your stuff together, you don't need a manager, like you obviously have. What else want I say? What we really do like, if you're not in the spotlight, get out in a van and tour and tour and tour. Just play, be humble, play music. Start small, but believe in yourself, and maybe think big or not, but definitely do the live shows. That's something we as a label really like and honor. I think it's a mixture. It's you create content and a range of awareness. It's also sales, but you gain experience. You gain you widen your network. I mean, I must always say that I'm not the artist. I'm from the label, but that's our perspective and yet say our experience with the artist from the last years. So I think for what we are doing, it's a very fundamental pillar that you go play the live shows to just see how this world works, and maybe also the key territories you want to be as a band and want to be booked and streamed or sell your music. Then just go there and start in a little cafe or a youth recreational center. It just doesn't matter. If you're believing in yourself and this stuff is coherent, it will grow from there. But it's important to not want to miss this honest work at the foundation, I would say.
Marco, what makes you write about an artist?
Well,
and how to get through.
There are several factors. I mean, what you were saying before, it's so spot on, because it's about originality, it's about music definitely, but it's also about everything else, about the story you are presenting, about the story you are bringing forward, because it's yourself that you are trying to sell more than your music in some way. So it's really important for every musician to develop, not only musically, but also as a person, because the more you develop yourself, the more your music is going to develop as well, in some way. And
so something has to catch your ear or eye.
Yeah, but even before it's about
ideally both. But
even before it's about the story. I mean, it's about what you are representing, about what you are narrating, what you are saying before. I mean, there must be always a link to your music, to what you play. But even before that, there must be somebody behind the music in some way, because everybody can put a link and just say, or just release this song, this single, but without anything behind, we don't have anything to write as well. I mean, we cannot write only about the music.
We talked a bit about it in the first session. Do you think that in this field, in world music, there is a bit more need for the person behind the music to be seen?
Maybe not only seen, but really to be read, to be listened to. I mean, it's not only about it's really important, the visual part, as you were saying before.
No, so I didn't mean the scene visually,
definitely.
To be present.
As I was saying, I mean, the story behind is really important. If you got something particular, peculiar, I mean, the style you play that is must be unique, don't have to be unique, but it has to be some sort of different from somebody else, from everything else that is coming through.
It's a bit more trickier than that, because you need to be different, but you also need to be similar to stuff. I mean,
well, I mean, talking about world music, pop, for example, is completely different. Rocking is completely different. Talking about world music is more about singularities. It's more about diversity. It's more about your selling points. They are yours. That's the main thing. So it's really important for an artist to know what are your selling point, your unique, really strengths, and which is music definitely, but it also needs to be something else.
Dago, if you have to pitch yourself, you have to tell, who am I? What kind of music do I play? What do you say? I mean, more importantly, how did you come up with kind of the automatic answer to this question? Because you need to answer this question many times, and especially earlier, probably when you were a bit less known, you had to answer this many times.
So it's Polish-Ukrainian, which is for me very important to say. Woman wedding and woman wedding stories. We do also various types of stories, but also ancient szczodrówkas, which are the oldest wishing songs. So this is like in one sentence what I can say. But what is very crucial for me when I prepared the album, my band was very crazy about it, that I spent too much time on preparing the booklet. And the booklets are very, very big. The words are translated into English by poetry translators. And with each song, when we dig into our culture, I work with ethnographer, and I want to know at first, what am I singing about? So I want to know the roots, because we are adding lots of new modern music into it, jazz, electronics, and I don't want anyone to come to me and say that I don't know the roots, the real roots of it. So I need to be deep, and I need to prepare about each song, the whole story, that for sure I will know everything about it, but the person who wants to know more through my music has a place to go. When it goes, this can be about audience, but it's about journalists. You need to prepare. If somebody will call me now, send me the info about this. Can you tell me something about this song? Send me the info. I have it ready in my phone, not right now. And when you have a release of your album, you don't spend your precious time for being mad at yourself that you could prepare for it before. So with this one sentence, it took a long to also for me to find it. There were many various types of pitching sentence for me. I use also at the cover of this leaflet that there's never been a treatment of Polish and Ukrainian traditional music like it. It's come from Fruits magazine, which doesn't exist anymore. It was in UK, but it's also good to try to go to the international magazines, push that if somebody could give you the small review of it, it can be helpful for you. And you don't have to start from big magazines. It can be. I remember our first time in Poland. We didn't think about playing abroad except Poland and Ukraine, and maybe Germany, Berlin, something like that. I asked one of the biggest names in Poland for the biggest authors in Poland, could he listen to our music and write one sentence about it, but only if he will like it. If not, I will not ask him. He had my phone and so on. And he wrote a sentence that helped us in national radio, all the stations, because he's one of the biggest authority. I said, Adam Nowak from Raz, Dwa, Trzy band said that this is. And we said, this is a good idea. So I asked 3 more people, and they did it, and it helped us a lot. Also in doing doing the gigs, because when nobody knows you, you need a recommendation. And that the same was with the concerts. We played our first far concert was in Morocco. We got the invitation from Polish embassy, which was asked for from the Festival of People of the Desert. Can they recommend a band from Poland? And do you think this lady knew us? No, she didn't know us, but her husband was at our concert in a shitty hall in a small town, Łódź, where half of the public was talking loudly, but half was listening deeply. And he was in the second part, and he bought our EP, and he was playing it all the time for a whole week. And she said, you know, my husband for a whole week is telling me that and this lady from the embassy called a friend. Sorry, that was not her husband, and said, "Do you know a nice band from Poland that could suit it?" Oh my God, my husband is playing for a whole week, and I regret that I didn't go for this concert. Check this band. And she called us. That was our first time in Morocco. And then I asked for a recommendation. And she wrote a recommendation and sent it to all her friends around the world, also some festivals and embassies. And it helped us to get further. So don't hesitate to ask about recommendations.
Absolutely. Actually, now that you say it, I'm very frequently approached by artists just asking, can you write 2 sentences about us for the website or for Facebook or for whatever? Yeah, so it's something that's not many artists, but more than a few do, and it works well. What do you think are the necessary qualities what do you think are the necessary qualities for you to self-manage? Because probably there is a reason why you are doing it and not other members of the band. There is a reason why not every artist is self-managed.
I like people.
That helps.
But that helps. There are some things that you can think that you are not open and you are not so communicative. But please believe it that it's a process, and I wasn't like that at the beginning. It was super hard for me to go to someone and say, no, our music is great. The first thing, totally important, is the things that I told you, that you need to prepare yourself. So it will be not, I don't know the expression in English, but when you are standing like that, somebody can fall you down, yes? So you must do everything to stay strong. So those are things that you need to do at home to not to be fallen when the discussion comes. Because somebody can say, okay, can you send me the press kit? And you don't have it. Oh, that's shit. So I had some fallings at the beginning, and it gave me the idea that I need to be prepared for everything. And I started to think, when I will meet this person, what this person can in the future need from me. So maybe I can prepare this. Okay, then I concentrate on different things. And the most important thing in that whole idea of being a manager is empathy. I remember that when you have a speed meeting and you go to a person who already had 20 speed meetings by a row, you need to think how this person feels. He or she already had 20 meetings, so his concentration is rather 10% or not 100. You have 5 minutes for talk. You need to calculate the time. So you need to have a short introduction, then think that when you will talk, there needs to be a time for the answer. And if you don't find it in your idea that the conversation is not a one-way speech, then you win also. But I understand myself that it's very important to see a person in your interlocutive. So if he's exhausted, don't try to push. Maybe ask if he wants a glass of water, and ask if this is a good timing to speech. Oh, thank you. If it's a good timing for speech, maybe we can meet later. And because of that, I remember it was Womex. It was in Canada. I was in Canada and CMW. Thank you. And there was a guy from Africa, South Africa, running a big festival, and I really wanted to meet him, but I saw that he's totally exhausted. And at the beginning, I just brought him a bottle of water. And I said, I see that you're totally exhausted. If you want, I just don't want to take your time if you're totally exhausted. Maybe if you have time, we could meet tomorrow. And he said, I'm so fucking thirsty. For 1.5 hours, I was sitting here and I didn't have water. Thank you for that. And I said, so maybe you want to rest. It's your last meeting. Maybe we could meet tomorrow. And we met tomorrow. Unfortunately, it was the year before pandemics. But if it wasn't the pandemics, we would be now in Africa for sure. And he said, you're such a nice person. And your music is great. You're gonna play, but I would like to program a Polish stage on my festival. And he said, last week Ed Sheeran was visiting me, and he was playing on guitar at my patio, and I was listening, and I couldn't believe. I didn't know that he is such a huge guy, but it didn't happen because the pandemics came. I hope that that there will be time, but I wanted to tell you about empathy. It's people do know if somebody's pushing too much. So maybe try to be human, and that will guide you to touring and releasing albums and so on.
Yeah, management and selling yourself is basically about human connections. So if you enjoy being amongst people, talking to people, like I know you do, or how did you say it? You like people. I mean, if you like people, then it's a good sign. That's a good first step.
And you need to like your audience. This is something. Maybe you can look at me like that. But sometimes people don't want to connect with their audience. They don't want to talk with the audience.
Yeah, you talk a lot on stage.
We talk a lot on stage. Maybe it's not good, but we find that it's important to talk with people. It's very important to reply to the comments, to reply in the social media, reply to every single comment. It takes time, but you never know what will happen. At the beginning, the people that took their time to write to you. It means a lot. They could watch TikTok or Netflix in that time. They want to say something to you. So even if they say thank you, reply, thank you, you're great that you wrote to me. And that's it. I'm very grateful for being on stage 16 years in one band. It's that's my biggest success. It's not playing on big festivals, but playing for 16 times with those people. So, and also grateful for every single person. And I don't want to go to cry, so maybe, but this is it.
Don't forget to ask questions if you have them. Okay. But let's focus now on a bit different topic. in world music, this national brands matter a lot because our expectations are based both musically and otherwise on nationality. So you expect a certain kind of stuff from a Moroccan band and something different from a Brazilian or a Slovenian. So when you hear Hungarian, what is your expectation, musically or otherwise, from an outside perspective?
Yeah, I was actually asking myself this question. Let's say working in the field, I'm a little bit preoccupied. I was thinking about, traditional European music. Yeah, maybe some sprinkles of gypsy music, depends. But I was also thinking, although I've never been here, I was thinking of Budapest as a pretty young and vibrant city, and so I gave it definitely a good portion of modern rock music, maybe electronic things. But yeah, I'm being totally honest that I'm pretty new into Hungarian music. So this was a let's say a pretty broad approach into a possible.
You never released anything Hungarian, right?
No. So that's a perfect possibility to have a start here.
Marco, what's your top of mind?
Well, I feel the main thing is related to the capital, the main city usually, because it's where things usually happen in every country. For example, London or Berlin or also Barcelona, Madrid. Is where the melting pot is happening and where new music is coming out. So it's a reflection of Hungarian music which should be here, starting from here, and then everything else is happening around. I mean, before, without knowing anything, I would have said really something related to Eastern European, Balkan, a little bit maybe of Turkey as well, a little bit from the area anyway, in that way. But a lot of folk music as well, maybe folktronica, because I think also electronic music is quite important in Hungary. So the mix between the two.
Any names that come to mind? Any references from musicians or otherwise?
New bands, you mean? New acts?
No, I mean in generally, from the past or.
Well, Zabor Gabor. I mean, it's other.
It's not an example.
No,
I'm
that's
just
good
curious.
because we cover a few in the years, but it's no, that's fine. There's a.
Daga, what's your
My first
you've got more connections to
I've got more connections, but for me it's great to have that I had the experience to be at the dance houses. So I seen the traditional understanding of your music and the variety of music, because it's not only gypsy music. And what I want to, so I saw Muzikash, but I've played also with a guy from Beshodrom. So it's also good to see the older stage as well. But for me, the most important when I would like to see some band from Hungary in Poland at World Music Festival, first thing is traditional. But so it will be much more easy to get to the festival. But to be honest, I don't know now a modern way of combining traditional Hungarian music with other genres. I'm waiting for that very, very, very. I'm waiting for the listening sessions. But for sure, Hungarian musicians are virtuosos. When it goes about folk music, and very interesting, energetic. And I've once heard some singing which was very deep, but mostly it's the music that I heard was only without singer, instrumental. Sorry. the listening session, I hope that will find the solutions for us.
Yeah, but how important? I mean, listening is one thing, but how important do you find showcases in career building?
Super important, and try to at first go for the showcase. So we will have a great opportunity at Budapest Ritmo, but you don't have to walk too much to reach it or fly. But it is very good to go abroad to see how it works. And if you're gonna play at the festival, it's best to start from smaller ones. Because you will lose your chance if you go for the first ever showcase and it's going to be Womex. I can say that you will miss your chance for 50% for sure, because you will not know how to act in the Womex, which is a huge conference. I remember first time I went there, it's super expensive to go over for the conference. It was my first Womex. There were no grants in Poland for that. I have sold my computer, brand new MacBook Pro. I didn't have, the flight was too expensive to Copenhagen, so I took the bus. I took the bus with 2 suitcases. One was filled with half with the CDs, half with my clothes, and second one was filled with food, because Scandinavia is extremely expensive also for food. So I was cooking. I was staying in a home of a friend musician to manage it. And after coming back, I had such a bunch of visit cards, and I didn't remember any person from those visit cards. So I knew that next time I need to take a notebook, glue, put it there, do some notes in front of on the business card, and maybe take a picture with that person, and know who was it. But that whole first Womex was totally, maybe not totally, but I did. It was spoiled. It
wasn't. That's how I remember you.
Okay.
I mean,
but I thought that it was the disaster, that I did that disaster, and I can't imagine myself playing first time in such a big conference. So it's better to go for a smaller one. Check this out. You have here some couple of delegates, but you can have a possibility to speak to all of them. And when you have 3,000, you don't know whom to choose. So many people want to meet the most important people. So if you're not the most important artist, there is a huge probability that they will not find the time to meet you. So you need to plan in advance, to write to them 1 month before, that that's me, this is my press kit, will you find time to meet me? So it's this kind of hard strategy to how to build this showcase.
But you're saying so it's worth going to showcases even if you're not performing.
Yes, that's the crucial part. You're gonna see how does it work. So when you will finally perform, you will know how to prepare. We were playing mostly 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and if you must be prepared that people will come and go out. And it doesn't mean that your music sucks. It means that they want to see another band in the same time who is playing kilometer farther. You need to know that you're gonna have sound check, which is 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So and you don't have all the equipment that you normally have in your hometown. So you need to prepare that it's kind of a war zone. So not everything will work out. So, but it helps a lot. If you will manage to invite people, if you will manage to, before your show, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, if you will manage to invite the right people, it can actually give you a lot of things.
Can I just jump in here? Yeah. Thank you so much. I just want to say on the spot, which I could have said like 30 minutes ago. That's the exact stuff we want to see as a international label, because that's the humble professionalism you put out the work. You
and
maybe
the very, very high level commitment. I mean, that came through.
Yeah, for sure. But what I want to stress is that we do see that, even if we are not there. But the word will make its round, and what I want to say is, don't rely too much on your prodigy status or something, or that you. I mean, it's great if you know that you're good, but just put out the work and learn. Go to showcase festivals, play your own shows, just absorb all that you can learn, and it will pay off. And it helps so much, and I think it speeds up things enormously than just waiting and giving it a shot. So it might always be that you won't have the peak attention you should have deserved. But if you try your best, it makes a total difference. And even if you don't think somebody sees it, in my experience, there is this network of people, for instance, we have, and they just give us the gossip of the last concerts in whatever, London or other places. So that's also how we encounter artists in the end. And those are not the artists who stay with their asses at home. Those are the artists that go out and get to know maybe our promo agent in this town, which is not currently working for them. But they keep the name in the back of their minds, and then the next Zoom meeting they say, hey, there's this artist that played venue X Epsilon last week, and that was awesome. And they had their stuff together, and they're eager to grow and so on. Maybe that's something for you. So it's not how it works, but it could be something how it works for us. So,
but many times it works like that, actually. People talking to each other and giving recommendations randomly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's there's still demo tapes, but the chances are way higher if it's out in the wild. If you're out in the wild and doing your thing, that the moment is there, and instead of in the internet or with a promo tape.
But I think one of your the most important takeaway of your story is probably that you've always been 100% behind what you were doing. So you always gave everything, and your enthusiasm, the enthusiasm of yourself towards what you're doing is infectious. If you're enthusiastic about what you are doing, then that's the minimum to make others being enthusiastic about.
For sure. My band is Polish-Ukrainian, and we started from playing 2-3 gigs and during the stay of my friend in Poland for the scholarship, and she thought that it's going to be a project for her scholarship. And she came back, and there is a border, So when I said, maybe let's make another concert and you can come back, she had to stay 6 hours at the border. And the connection was so strong between us that we really wanted to do that, is that for 3 years she was crossing the border every single week with 6 hours on the border standing and so on. And finally she moved to Poland, she with her husband, future husband. So for me, as a manager and her best friend, I found that I must work hard because she moved her life to Poland. That's a fucking big thing. I'm sorry for the big bad word, but it's appropriate here. So if I will not work hard to make it happen, that we were gonna play, that she's gonna have money to live, I will be very, very, very egoistic person. And now there is a war, full-scale war. Her husband went to war. He was living in Poland, and he went to war as a volunteer, and he's now at a very not secure place, let's let's say. And he is a computer scientist, so he got very good salary. So when he left her for the war, I had to start work much more harder because she has to pay the bills, and she's not only now musician, like she can play, but she has a husband that will pay the bills, but she has to pay all the bills, all the credits, and she has to send the money to the front to him. So it makes bigger for me, but still I don't think that the music is a product. I'm super lucky that this is my job, mamma mia. So we are privileged. Now people are sitting in the offices. Come on, and they are doing we are musicians, guys. Let's be very happy about it. This is the best work in the world. You can travel, you can see other cultures, you can collaborate with other musicians, which is super important. If you want to spread the word, collaborate with other musicians. You can enter another market with their knowledge.
Maybe you are not aware, but I'm saying that one of your main brand assets is that friendship that comes off from the stage, and everybody, it's so visible. I already felt it in the first minute, probably, that it's a band based on this friendship.
Yes, if you don't like your musicians, change your musicians. You're gonna be 90% of you're gonna be more with your musicians than with your wife and kids, probably, when it will be successful. So if you will work with people you don't like, change it. It's easy. Fortunately, I didn't have that reason to do that, but...
Jakob, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, but it's a little bit trivial. It's just because you're always telling like this really inspiring stuff and interesting. But what I just want to add is one more advantage. What I think of having a manager, because it's the network of the manager itself. That's one top classified gossip, that not only a handful of our bands have been actually signed because the actual manager has given us a nudge to look at them and maybe sign them. So it's completely different of your personal circumstances, but these mini let's say micro networks just enhance your chance a little bit more, or let's say increase your chance much more to get into a music label such as ours. So that's just something for you. Maybe it's not working with all those managers out there and all those labels.
Yeah, everybody that loves your music can become an agent of yours, not a booking agent, but like kind of an agent in every direction.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean the best thing would be if all grow together. You start small, and everybody gains that certain amount of professionalism, without losing touch to your roots, and of course the friendship thing. I mean, we are of course all friends with all bands at Glitterbeat. I'm not kidding, but it gets harder the bigger the roster gets and the time span and all this, and also make sure to see those guys on a regular basis, which is not so easy as a world music label with artists, let's say, all over the world, spread out and more or less active. But yeah, I want to stress that also. It's we're also all friends, which doesn't make it easier at times to make decisions, let's say, in a financial way or strategic things, because we are music lovers and hardcore music geeks at Glitterbeat. But let's say in the last couple of years there was a little bit of these economic things that were introduced to us. So it's not always a struggle, but you tend to forget about one when you spend too much time thinking about the other. Let's say economic success versus your affinity or your love for arts and all this. So this is a funny thing. You think it's a problem, but it's not really. You just have to be a good human at work and appreciate the person, and then it pays off. And at least try to respect a certain amount of, let's say, economic rules. So then this goes together pretty well.
Can I say one thing? Because
Yeah.
she was saying before about you tried with a manager in the beginning, which is still important because not only for manager but also for for PRs, for agent, for every figure in the music scene, because you need to learn a little bit before what to do. So I mean, as a musician, you cannot really improvise from scratches. I mean, you cannot start from having nothing and then now I want to be labeled, I want to release my album on my own. You really need to learn a little bit before starting to do your job. I mean.
So I would like to add something that I was learning at the beginning from the manager of the band I really liked, and I was a groupie of one band in Poland, and we started to be friends, and I started to be friends with the manager as well, and I asked him at the beginning, can you show me how does the contract look like? What is backstage? What is that? What is that? So I was asking silly questions for him, but he was replying to me. And we have some rules that I have like 4 or 5 managers in Poland that each year we have a meeting, we go for the dinner and we say whom shall we watch out in Poland now and avoid, and where shall I phone? And I also tell him which gigs were great, and we just talk about the market, what's changed, and exchange our knowledge. So you can do the same. That will help you a lot.
Cool, it's already lunchtime, but before that, question time. If there is any, but lunch is also a good occasion to ask your questions directly to people. So 1, 2, 3, no questions, lunch. Thank you.